The rapture of the church is neither a myth nor a fabrication, as many have been led to believe. According to the Bible, the rapture is a divine process that begins with the transformation of a mortal body into an immortal one, followed by the transfer of that glorified body from the realm of time into the realm of eternity. The Scriptures reveal that 3 such raptures have already taken place in the Old Testament. In the New Testament, 3 more raptures are promised, with one having already occurred. In this video, I will share a powerful clip that unveils this great mystery of the rapture, as explained by the notable Bible prophet William Branham. Take time to listen carefully until the end, and if this teaching blesses you, be sure to leave a comment and share your thoughts.
Now, we've already had 3 raptures in the Old Testament. Did you know that? As a witness. Now watch. Enoch was one, Elijah was the other, and Jesus was the other one. Jesus being the keystone now, he bear record. See, he was the keystone between the Old and New Testament because he had to first die and then rapture. He died, come to life, and walked around here with us, and then was raptured up because he was the keystone that tied the 2 together. We all know Enoch was translated. Amen. We know Elijah was taken up by whirlwind. That right, in a chariot of fire. And Jesus died, buried, rose up, and lived here on earth, and then was raptured up. The keystone.
We have examined the 3 raptures recorded in the Old Testament. Now, let's turn our attention to the New Testament and discover what it reveals about the rapture. Listen carefully to what he said.
Now, there has been one rapture already passed. You know that? Let's see if we can't read it right quick. Let's get Matthew, the 27th chapter, and let's get about the 45th verse of the Matthew, the 27th chapter. Let's see if we can't get that right quick and see if we can't get just a little bit out of this would help us right quickly. 27 and 45, I believe I got wrote down here. Let's read. Now, from the 6th hour, there was darkness over all the land until the 9th. And about the 9th hour, Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, which is to say, My God, why hast thou forsaken me? Some of them that stood by heard it and said, This man calls Elias. And straightway one of them ran and took a sponge and filled it with vinegar and put it on a reed and gave it to him to drink. The rest said, Let us see where Elias will come and save him. Jesus, when he had cried with a loud voice, yielded up, loud voice, watch, when Jesus dying, screamed with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost, and behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain from the top to the bottom, and the earth did quake, and the rocks did rent, and the graves were open, and many of the bodies of saints that slept arose and came out of the graves after his resurrection, and went into the holy city and appeared unto many. Amen. One rapture is past. Right. 3's happened in the Old Testament. Of them prepared, who the word of the Lord came to. Amen. See? The word of the Lord came to Enoch. The word of the Lord came to Elijah's prophet. See? The word of the Lord was Jesus. See? Watching the Old Testament, them Old Testament saints now, when this rapture first taken place, notice verse 50, his loud voice awakened the Old Testament saints just exactly like the loud voice awakened Jesus, or awakened Lazarus. Amen. See? A loud voice awakened. And the second is fulfilled in 2 Thessalonians, the 4th chapter. Let's just take a read. We just read it a few minutes ago. See? I would not have you ignorant, brethren, concerning those asleep, that you saw or not, even. That's 1 Thessalonians 4, 12 to 18. That will be the second rapture. The second rapture will be the catching away of the bride. Amen. The Old Testament saints has gone into his presence, paradise done away, and Old Testament saints ascended up at his loud voice when he screamed to give up the ghost, because why? The sacrifice, the propitiation of their sins that they'd waited on, believing that perfect Lamb was coming, they'd offered the sacrifice to the Lamb, and when he died and yielded up the ghost, he screamed with a loud voice, and the Old Testament saints awoke. Amen. Watch the shout and the voice over here, the same thing at his coming. See? Amen. Yielded up the ghost, and when he did, the sacrifice was perfect, and paradise emptied out. And the Old Testament saints came to the earth again, walked around on earth, and entered in with him at his rapture. David said over there, Lift up ye everlasting gates, and be ye lifted up. He led captive captive, and give gifts unto man. And the Old Testament saints went in with him. He said, Who is this King of righteousness, the Lord of glory, mighty in host? Mighty host. Here they come in marching, Jesus led captivity captive. Here he comes with the Old Testament saints, and went of the new gates up there and said, "Lift up ye everlasting gates, and be ye lifted up, and let the King of glory come in." Amen. The voice come from the inside and said, "Who is the King of glory? The Lord mighty in battle." The gates flew open, and Jesus, the conqueror, led captive. Them that had believed on him, and the word had come to him. There the Old Testament saints laying in there waiting. He led captive.
Amen.
Ascended on high, took the Old Testament saints and went in. There's one rapture already passed.
Amen.
The next rapture takes place is 2 Thessalonians, for the church, the bride, to be resurrected, to be raptured into glory. We which are alive and remain, that's the bodies left on earth, will not prevent or hinder them which are asleep. For the trumpet of God shall sound first, and the dead in Christ shall rise. See? And we which are alive and remain shall caught up together with them. Now the third one is the two witnesses of Revelations 11 and 12, which these are the ones that turns back with the Spirit of Christ to witness to the Jews like Joseph did to his brethren. And you remember their dead bodies laid in the street for 3 days and a half. Then the Spirit of life came into them, and they were raptured, taken up into heaven. There's your three raptures of the New Testament, three raptures of the Old Testament. All of them passed. Now we're ready, waiting for the rapture of the saints. It's been spoken, and so shall it be. When God says anything, all heavens and earth will pass away, but that word will never fail.
Amen.
When God said back there in Genesis 1, He said, "Let there be light." It might have been hundreds of years before there's any light. He said, "Let there be a palm tree. Let there be an oak tree. Let there be a desert. Let there be a mountain. Let there be this." He spoke it. You see, and as long as it went out of His mouth in a word, it has